guests, ladies and gentlemen, the people of Uganda are incredibly warm and hospitable. Our national parks are well endowed with various species of flora and fauna, including the mammals, reptiles, birds, insects, and other forms of landscapes, most of which are unique to only Uganda. I would request the video to be played for you to be able to see where you are and how unique they are. The country is also blessed with some of the most beautiful ionic waterfalls along the majestic River Nile that I must see before you leave this country. Your Excellency, the President, please accept our sincere gratitude for your immense support towards our success of this conference, and also for personally being here to preside over this opening ceremony. You're most welcome, and forever, as legislature, we pledge our support to executive for the good working relationship that we have built. Right Honorable colleagues, I want once again welcome you, and I hope your visit to Uganda will be an experience like no other. I therefore wish you a fruitful deliberation and stay in a beautiful country in Uganda. I say all this for God and my country. At this juncture, I now take the singular honor of inviting the Fountain of Honor, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, to deliver his remarks and officially open the 27th Conference of Speakers and Presiding Officers of the Commonwealth. Kindly please rise up to receive the President.
Okay, thank you so much. Sit down, please. Sit down, sit down. The Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Among, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the Right Honorable visiting speakers, the Prime Minister of Uganda, and all the distinguished guests. The gist of my remarks is like a slogan. And the slogan is, down with philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness. That is the gist of my statement. I am glad to address you and welcome you to Uganda as speakers of the Commonwealth countries. The Commonwealth countries have a combined population of 2.4 billion people. Soon, we shall also host the NAM, the Non-Aligned Movement, and the group of 77 plus China meetings here in the next few days. Those countries of the two international organizations have a combined population of 6.4 billion people. In those fora, I want to use those occasions as one of the third generation of the anti-colonial resistance fighters of Africa put our humble ideas to the world. The gist of our ideas could be summed up in the slogan, "Down with philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness," in quotes. The human race has been here for the last 4.5 million years, beginning as Homo sapiens sapiens. These were primates that had a superior brain, a hand that could hold tools and do work, and bipedalism that, unlike the reptiles whose heads are constantly negotiating against obstacles on the ground, frees our heads to see far and think. So we are not like reptiles, we think better because we are bipedal, walk on two legs. Is it this Homo sapiens sapien that has been the agent of change and transformation in societies all these millennia? These humans were only in Africa until about 100,000 years ago. That is when groups of humans started leaving Africa for other continents. You can therefore say that all the human race are either Africans, like we the Ugandans, or are former Africans, like those in Americas, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. So all of you, you are either Africans or former Africans. And I welcome you, all of you. Initially, and up to today, man faced oppression from nature. That was the original problem of man, oppression from nature, by the floods, by the drought, diseases, etc. The humans, unlike the other animals, however, did not these other animals also face the same. The elephants, the what, they all suffer from the adverse phenomena of nature. The humans, unlike the other animals, however, did not face this problem of oppression of man by nature passively. This is the difference between man and the other animals. Man, using his ability to use his superior brain to think and his hands to work, strived to find solutions to the challenges thrown to him by nature. He started making tools to help him do work, the stone tools, the iron tools, until today, when he has got tractors, bulldozers, etc. These are all tools made by man to help him solve the problems he was facing. 1.5 million years ago, he invented fire, which enabled the human race to descend from the trees and become cave dwellers. The caves were more comfortable than the trees. They were warmer, rain-free, and safer. It is therefore this change in science and technology that is always the primer. This word primer, we use it in the army to mean a provocator, initial provocator. You can call it the initiator, the primer of social economic transformation. However, along the way, another oppression to man added itself. The original problem of man was oppression by nature. But along the way, another form of oppression added itself. That was oppression of man by fellow men. What is the form of this oppression? It is in the form of the wars of aggression, to kunyaga. Kunyaga in our language means to loot. To kunyaga cattle and capture women, enslave, make bahuku, slaves, displace people, ethnic cleansing, colonize, or simply dominate indirectly, even if one does not physically occupy the other person's territory, i.e. neo-colonialism and semi-colonialism. Why oppress? It is because of greed. Yet this operation of man by fellow men is totally unnecessary and is also satanic and pagan. Indeed, St. Paul, in the book of the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 7, verse 26, writes, and this is in quotes, "And he," meaning God, "has made from one blood every nation of men," you former Africans, all of you, you are from one group, "on all the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord." This is what St. Paul says, that we are all from one source, but we were given our lands, each one was given his area and the boundaries thereof. Therefore, for true believers, imperialism and colonialism and expansionism by force were criminal and satanic. The present crisis we have in the Middle East could be traced back to Roman imperialism, when at Masada they dispersed the Jews. Those who know that history know what happened, how the Jews rose up against the Romans and they were dispersed. This Masada was AD 70. AD 70, that's when I think it happened, if my history is still good. Up to now, we are dealing with the mistake of the Romans, you can imagine. What were the Romans doing in the Middle East? The present crisis, the first white man to come through our areas was Huntington Speke. He was an army officer from Britain, and his friend Grant in 1862. Here we had never seen any black person, any non-black person, until 1851, when an Arab called Ibrahim came here. That was the first non-black person our people ever saw. And they thought he had no skin. They had never seen. They thought he had no skin. Although Grant and Speke were sometimes delayed by some greedy chiefs, they managed to go by land from Bagamoyo in Tanzania all the way to Alexandria in Egypt. These two British explorers went through here, just two of them, peacefully, all the way from Tanzania up to Alexandria in Egypt. Speke himself writes in his book, The Discovery of the Source of the Nile, on pages 94, 95, how the Baganda, one of our groups here, at Mtesa's court, at Mtesa's palace, Mtesa was one of our kings here, were admiring the items of trade he had brought, textiles, etc., by exclaiming. He writes, he writes wrongly because he doesn't know our language. He says that the people were saying irungi, irungi, meaning chirungi. It is good. So the people were appreciating the products which Speke came with, some of the products like textiles and so on. In Karagwe, Karagwe is in Tanzania, the benevolent and gentle giant king, Rumanyika, gave so many gifts to these strangers, milk, beef, millet, so much that they hardly used any of their own resources when they were there. It was therefore possible to develop symbiotic relationships at that early stage among free peoples of different lands and continents. What was colonialism and imperialism then for? What was the historical role of imperialism and colonialism? It was for greed and ignorance. We had to have vicious anti-colonial wars in India, the mutiny of 1857, the wars in Vietnam, China, Kenya, the Mau Mau, in Mozambique, Angola, Zimbabwe, Namibia, South Africa, Guinea-Bissau, to solve this problem now. Instead of coming like Speak, who came to explore and to trade, and he went peacefully all the way. Now, when colonialism came, we had now to fight colonialism. This is not talk of the most destructive inter-imperialist wars, the First and the Second World Wars. Those wars among Europeans, Germans, British, what have you, all those wars in which we were involved. I am called Museveni. My name is Museveni because our parents, the word Museveni is a corruption of the English word seven. Now, the 7th Regiment of the British Army was where many of the Ugandans served. So in their Bantu way, Bantu is our language, they said, Aba Seveni, the people of the 7th. That's how, so Mu Seveni means one colonial soldier, so I'm one of those colonial soldiers. Because I was born in 1944, when the first veterans of that colonial, those intercolonial wars were coming back. When the dangerous illusion of empires was defeated, this is now how I come to the Commonwealth. Because when I talk of the Commonwealth, you must talk about it thoroughly and seriously, not just talk. When the dangerous illusion of empires was defeated, the elders of the countries that had been part of the British Empire decided not to throw away completely some aspects we had got from the British. The English language. The English language is a captured property. I now speak it. If I want to insult everybody, I use English. But it was brought by the British and we captured it here and kept it. And it's good because you can, when I met Her Majesty, the Queen, on one of the occasions, I told her that the Commonwealth is one of the international meetings where I go and I don't have to have earphones to translate for me. I speak directly, although we speak in different accents, but you can hear what I'm saying. This is a very big advantage. 2.4 billion people using one language, understanding one language, which we got as a result of that temporary colonial interaction. The concept of representative government, which our daughter Anita Mungu was telling you about, the MPs here. For us, we take representation very seriously. We have got how many constituencies? How many are they? The constituencies. Mwala, you know or you don't know? How many constituencies? 3 what? Clerk. Huh? 314. The constituencies are 314. So, if we are to do like they do in many countries, to only have constituencies, how many women do we have now who came from constituencies? They are 14 or what? Huh? 1-4. Now you can hear. The constituencies are 314, where everybody competes. But out of the 314, only 14 are women who defeated men and everybody else. Now, in our own struggle for democracy, we didn't agree that just constituency representation is enough. Because if it was enough, why is it that the women, who are 51% of our population, only bring out 14 women out of 314 opportunities? That's why we said, in addition to the constituency members of parliament, let's also have special seats for women. From each district, the districts are, I think there are 130 something now. So that's how you get that big number of women. Then we have the seats for workers, factory workers. We have delegates for youth, and so on. So this concept of representative government, the British brought it to us, and we liked it and expanded it. Separation of powers, mutually beneficial economic interactions, trading together. So therefore, although we resisted the nonsense of imperialism, which we think is a backward practice, satanic, St. Paul calls it pagan. When we defeated colonialism, we said no, but some good things have come from these people. Let's keep them and let's stay together now as equal people, no longer as colonized and colonizer, but as brothers and sisters. This is how the Commonwealth comes. Hence, the Commonwealth. What was problematic could be converted into something beneficial. In the United Kingdom right now and for some time, there is an active branch of my tribe comprised of our former British teachers and their offsprings. I have my sub-tribe in UK. But when I go there, I meet them. They are organized. The current chairperson of our branch is one of the daughters of our teacher, Mwalimu Sullivan, that was teaching us economics. The members of my tribal branch include Mr. Rema, our chemistry teacher, who taught so many of the present medical doctors that we have in Uganda, because many of the medical doctors study chemistry, and this Mr. Rema taught many of them who went through that area. Another member of our branch in the UK is Mr. Reeves, who was our organizer when I was an actor of modest fame in the play of The Murder in the Cathedral by Robert Bolt. So I was some sort of actor also. Those interactions between the colonizer and the colonized, although negative for most of the time, had also their positive sides that should be built on for mutual benefit. The problem, however, is the persistent philosophical, ideological, strategic shallowness and chauvinism of so many actors. This philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness ignores the progress of the human race in taming the natural phenomena that harm man and life, and taming nature to improve the quality of human livelihood. The invention of fire 1.5 million years ago, the invention of iron, the invention of agriculture for crops and then for livestock, the steam engine, electricity, the railway, the automobiles, the aircraft, automation of factories, vaccines, AI and artificial intelligence, etc., have shown that the quality of life of man can be improved greatly and exponentially by those human innovations, irrespective of the social systems they live under. Instead of using this human progress for the benefit of all, some actors, out of greed and philosophical, ideological, and strategic shallowness, miscalculate and seek to monopolize knowledge and also use knowledge to oppress others. Example, the iron tools were used for oppression. The gunpowder, the aircraft, the nuclear weapons, the rockets, etc., were used for the same. The greed is a miscalculation. Because if you try to use knowledge to oppress others, they also strive to acquire knowledge to catch up with you and defeat you. It's such a waste of time. Why do you want to oppress me? Because I will counter-organize. This is why empires collapsed, all of them without exception. There's no empire which has ever survived. You can recount all of them because they are essentially evil. Empires are evil. When Huntington Speke came here in 1862, Africans in this area did not know much about gunpowder. When Huntington Speke here, we didn't know about gunpowder. He's the one who came with gunpowder. Indeed, by 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized because of gunpowder, except for Ethiopia. By 1994, the last European-controlled country in Africa, South Africa, had been liberated by the gunpowder of the Africans. So Africans are now to acquire gunpowder to chase the invaders. And the last one to be chased were the whites, the white domination in South Africa, 1994. A whole century had been wasted on account of promoting parasitism instead of symbiosis. A whole century from 1860s to 1994, fighting. In the last 64 years, ever since 1960, our movement, initiated by students, has been advocating for symbiosis instead of parasitism for actors within Uganda and outside. Let us concentrate on utilizing the progress of man in the struggle against oppression of man by nature, rather than using that progress in science and technology for parasitism. Let us expunge all ideas of chauvinism of identity, religion, tribes, race, class, social class. If you think you are right, no, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. This is one of the English proverbs. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. What is good for you is good for everybody. If you want freedom, if you value freedom, then you should value the freedom of everybody. If you value independence, if you value dignity, then you must respect the dignity of everybody. Stop manipulations and lectures to the societies that are different from yours. If you think you are right, influence people by example. If you think you are right, influence people by example. In the book of Matthew, you know here we take Christians a bit seriously. So we believe in in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, it says, "Let your light so shine before men that they see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." That's what it says. It doesn't say lecture people, do that. No, you do good things. Then the people will see that what you believe is good, and they will copy you voluntarily. With this posture, the world will be peaceful and the progress will be rapid. The Pope failed to maintain Catholicism over Europe by force, in spite of the wasteful 30 Years' War and the Spanish Armada of 1588. You know, when Henry VIII of UK wanted to marry another woman, and then the Pope tried to dictate, and then there was a split. Then instead of saying, okay, if you want to leave Catholicism, you are free, the Pope tried to impose Catholicism, to maintain dominance of Catholicism in Europe by force. What was the result? 30 Years' War. The Spanish Armada. And he failed. He couldn't. He failed. Metternich of Austria-Hungary failed to stop the rise of capitalism and bourgeois ideology that had been started by the French Revolution in 1789. This man, Metternich, was a feudalist. So he saw the French Revolution as a threat. Then he thought he would stop it by war. And what was the result? Big problems for Europe. The Napoleonic Wars. The 14 intervention powers in Russia, when Russians took over, Russia was taken over by communists. Some countries wanted to stop communism by force, and they intervened. The 14 intervention powers in Russia failed to stop the spread of communism. Why fight ideas? They are beneficial. Adam Smith helped us by clarifying the ideas of the free market in his book, The Source of the Wealth of Nations of 1776, exposing the mistakes of the physiocrats and the bullionists. The former believed that agriculture is the only source of value, and the latter believed gold was the source of wealth. And Adam Smith helped the world greatly, and Europe in particular. Although the ideas of Adam Smith helped the free market by clarifying the role of specialization, division of labor, free enterprise and exchange, they had not, and maybe could not have done so, foreseen the limitation of their ideology when it came to aggregate demand and the role to be played by the state. That is how Maynard Keynes comes in after the capitalist crash of 1929. Yet Karl Marx had pointed out the importance of central planning. some years before in his manifesto of 1848. All these ideas about society, especially wealth creation, add something, although they may overlook something else. We, the calm and greedy and development-minded people, have benefited from all these different and sometimes contradictory ideas. That is how we have been able to turn a very bad situation in Uganda into a positive one. I commend this approach to the Commonwealth, and it is my honor to declare what? Opened? To declare opened the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your Excellency, on behalf of the speakers and the presiding officers who are present here, I want to extend our gratitude to you for delivering an inspiring and an insightful speech. Some of us have gotten to know what we didn't know before. Your words will undoubtedly foster a deeper sense of unity and collaboration among us, the speakers and presiding officers of the Commonwealth. We want to thank you again for your wisdom and guidance, and we are forever indebted to you. I want to request my colleagues to give the President a round of applause for his very good speech. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
The anthems.
distinguished guests, as we come to the end of this function, it gives me pleasure to invite the speakers to come for a collaborative, commemorative photograph. And as we prepare for the photo, I will kindly ask that His Excellency the President will wait until the speakers are organized on the podium and then join them. So could I invite our distinguished speakers and presiding officers to kindly follow the protocol team as they lead you to the podium for a commemorative photograph. For all the rest of our guests, we kindly ask that you resume taking seats and wait until we finish with the photo. And thereafter, we shall invite you to have tea and coffee and lots of entertainment. Thank you very much.
Uganda, home to high glaciers and the valley of 9 lakes located in the mystical snow-capped mountains of the moon, also known as the Rwenzori mountain range, extending over 5,000 meters at the Margarita summit, Africa's third tallest peak. Home to Lake Victoria, the world's largest tropical freshwater lake on the continent of Africa, producing 1 million tons of fish a year and employing thousands and supporting the livelihoods of millions. Home to the source of the Nile, the longest river in the world and source of adrenaline, the go-to for whitewater rafting, kayaking, bungee jumping, tubing, quad biking, and sunset cruises. Home to the Murchison Fall, when the waters of the Nile with a loud crashing sound squeeze through a narrow gorge turning into the world's most powerful waterfall. Home to 20 private species.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Break here on Behind the Headlines. My name is Timothy Nyangweso, and we're discussing everything the economics in perspective with what the president was speaking about in his end-of-year message there. Let me read some of your feedback coming through. Mwesije Aaron says, today we have technical people really giving us the details of what our economy should look like, but also perspective on what the facts are really in this economy, okay? Himsubwe Charles Dickens says, it's worth to note that UBC has set a brilliant panel to be able to discuss the pain issues, the pain points of the country. I'm watching and listening in at the same time. Okay, I'll be getting to some of the feedback later on, but let's get into our discussion here. I'm joined by the Honorable Minister, Godfrey Kabyanga, the Minister of State for ICT and National Guidance. I'm also joined by Professor Okumu Ibrahim, a Dean at the School of Economics at Makerere University and an economist, here to discuss everything economics, and Dr. Fred Muhumza, the Director of the MOOBS Economic Forum and an economist, and finally, Professor Sarah Sali, who's a Dean at the School of Women and Gender Affairs. Andrew has left us. He wasn't feeling well, under the weather there. We hope he gets well soon. Let's get into our conversation in this last leg of our conversation. And Honorable Minister, I'll start with you. A lot said, especially on the different segments of the PDM there. And I think the thing that the President was talking about PDM that was quite interesting is production. Is everyone meant to be in this production? Or are other people supposed to be working for this production?
Obviously, when you look at the money we have invested in PDM, and if you look at the segment it's going to, supposed to go to, it is that 39%, which is still working under subsistence. Because those are the households we are targeting. There's 39% who are still living under subsistence, working for only the stomach. Those are the ones supposed to get that money. And that's how the program is designed. But obviously, after they are produced, there must be value addition. There must be another segment that will add value to what has been produced. probably those ones will be now in small-scale industries and the like. There must be also some people who will be in marketing of whatever has come out of value addition, and there must be also transporters. And just as Dr. Muhuza said, only one pillar seems to be coming out prominently, the one of financial inclusion. But these are 7 pillars, including two of them where our ministry is actively involved: mindset change and the parish model management information system. But all these are moving on concurrently. We are working on them all because there is a system now which has been developed and it's being used, because the PDM is actually system driven. And then mindset change is going on. But probably what is coming out prominently is financial inclusion, because that's where the physical cash is. And you know, Ugandans are very excited about what? About money. But there are also other pillars which are equally very, very important that I think we need to put a lot of emphasis on, because there is also a pillar of infrastructure. We're supposed to work on the roads under PDM. There is also a pillar on land management. It is also there. There's also something to do with now adding value, marketing, and all that. It is also a pillar. There are 7 pillars, but the one which has come out prominently is financial inclusion. But all other pillars are also being looked at seriously, and I think that now people have started receiving money. We have now to look at all other pillars, because when production increases, we must have storage, we must add value, and we must market whatever has been produced. So that's why all other pillars will be very, very important. So it will not be just a small section. The other ones who we are giving the money, we want them to go into active production, so that they now don't live under subsistence. They should also come up and start producing for their stomach, and then they have something to sell, so that they earn money. Probably with the time, we can all now go to the middle income status. We shouldn't leave that 39% behind. So to answer your question, is PDM is not necessarily targeting those people who get the money. There are others who will not get the money, but they have work to do. But for them, probably some of them are already actively involved. And 2, they may not get that PDM money, but there is other money, like Emioga. There's money for Emioga. There's money, for instance, in UDB for people to set up industries, and there is money for agricultural credit facility, which the big farmers can use, because as much as possible we are, for instance, discouraging these people are getting that 1 million to go, for instance, in cotton growing, because cotton growing, we think it may not give you the returns that you want. It should be left for extensive workers.
Honorable Minister, let's stay where you're talking about it. Let's give examples of milk and coffee. Excesses are already there, especially in milk. And where is the market? There's a lot of production, but where is the market?
Yeah, as government, we are really working on the market right now. For instance, milk. We are already working on an agreement with the Algerian government, and they are going to take quite a big quantity of milk. I think if we can finalize that deal, then the issue of excess milk will be sorted. And obviously we are still negotiating with Kenya, because most of the milk was going to Kenya to see how we can sort out the contradictions which have been there. We are now working on the market with the DRC. By the way, DRC is one of the biggest consumers of our product.
Yes.
You know, DRC, for them, they don't have, and they don't produce milk. For instance, the part which I'm familiar with in Eastern Congo, North Kivu, you can't see a farm of
cows.
cows. Not at all. You can't see it anywhere. If someone has a farm of cows, he's a very rich person, very rich person. So all the milk which they take comes from outside the country, and for them they take powdered milk. So we have a lot of milk which is going to the DR Congo. That's why we are seriously pursuing peace in Eastern Congo, so that our products can go. That's why we have even gone in 2 roads. People were asking, but why go? No, we are looking for a market there, and the roads were so bad from Kasindi to Beni, which is 80 kilometers. It was taking us about 4 hours, but now after making the road, it is only taking us 1.5 hours. From Kasindi to Butembo, it was taking